Honey Foundation Spiritual Leadership Conference is taking place in Jerusalem, titled in English, A Time to Love. Spiritual leaders from all over Israel are converging in one place to set a tone for the future. And joining us now from Jerusalem's Israel Museum is Bill Lipsey, the founder and chairman of the Honey Foundation for Israel. Hello, and good to see you, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Emily. It's great to see you. Thanks for having me on your show.
Of course, of course. Listen, it's always a pleasure to interview such interesting people, and you yourself, you're a businessman. So please first tell us why you and your wife, Amy, felt emboldened to not only start the Honey Foundation 6 years ago, but also to put your own money up.
So I'll just say, I believe every idea that has currency that lasts has a problem that it's trying to solve. And so for us, we lived here 13 years ago for a year with our 11-year-old son, Josh. And one of the obvious points missing in Israel was Jewish community. I know it sounds odd. In the Jewish state, the Jewish community led by professional rabbis, spiritual leaders would be missing, but that's the fact. And so we saw it and said, I think that would really help society. People would feel more together. There wouldn't be such a divide. And those who had no doorway to walk in would have a doorway to walk in. And so we started this. As for investing our money, I'll just say, you said this, I'm a business person. I'll also say really what I am is an investment person. And so I view the money that we spend on the Honey Foundation very much as an investment. It's as if we're venture capitalists seeding social opportunity in Israel.
The United States specifically, Jewish community is such a huge part. It's the only way to really kind of stay connected to Judaism and in the same way, right, Israel as well. But in Israel, it really is very different. There's a big, we have conservative, reform, reconstructionist, so many different, titles in the U.S. Here you look at society as ultra-religious or ultra-secular without kind of in between. So explain the whole idea of bolstering spiritual leaders, getting to young people in society to create community-based Judaism in Israel. It's not just enough to be Israeli, right, being here.
Right. First, I got to tell a little bit of a story. So when we lived here, people would ask me, Ata dati or ata chiloni? So usually I don't wear a kippah. I'm wearing a kippah today because of the conference and because there's going to be some prayer said, and I always feel out of respect I wear a kippah. But people would ask me, are you religious or are you secular? And I thought, I didn't really even understand that could be a question. Why do I have to be one? Why can't I be me, who is a blend of being both chiloni, both secular, I live in the secular world, and also dati, also religious? Why can't I be both? And so I thought about that, and I'll say observed over the course of our year in Israel that Israelis didn't have homes. And so the mission of the Honey Foundation was very, very simple. Open doors. Open doors. It's kind of like Sarah and Abraham's tent from the Bible. Open doors. Their tent was open on all four sides. Why? So not only could people come in from whichever direction they were walking, but that Abraham and Sarah could see out and welcome whoever was coming. So the mission of the Honey Foundation was clear. Open doors. Now, how do you do that? How do you open doors? That's I'll say the trick. And so what we decided, and I'll say this is a lesson from business for me, is we open doors by empowering and helping the rabbi, the spiritual leader, to have a full-time, well-paid job. It's fascinating to me and a historic reality that the role of rabbi of the community, Rav Kihila, is not a professional paid position in Israel. And we're trying to change that.
I know you also have 46 Honey Fellows all over Israel. So clearly you're also getting to maybe the next generation of people who will maybe want to be religious and spiritual leaders without, the realities of Israel. It's hard to make a living and all of this stuff. I imagine you're really targeting the next generation of spiritual leaders as well.
We are, and it's not only the next generation of spiritual leaders. Think about what that question is. That younger spiritual leader is also attracting the next generation of Israeli Jew. And so that generation, the generation that's growing up today, is growing up in an Israel that's wealthy. In the context of global economics, Israel is a success, a massive success. And the idea that it's poor Israel of the 1950s, where we had to help because it had just gotten started, there's a different reality here. There are jobs, there's income, there's opportunity, there's free time. And so Israelis are asking the same questions for the first time in history that American Jews have been asking, and that is, what does all this mean? What does it mean for me to be a Jew today in my life? How do I find meaning in my family? And the answers that the Jews have sought to those questions over the millennia have been guided for us by our rabbis, by our spiritual leaders. That's what's going on today. That's what the Honey Foundation is so proud of.
Amazing. Bill, thank you so much for sharing your story and information about the Honey Foundation. It's truly a remarkable organization. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thanks, Emily. Thank you so much for taking the moment to think about us and wonder what's going on. Thank you.
My pleasure.